You're watching Guude. You're watching Guude. Fighting just to save our lives. Got you laughing every night.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So
You might
go ahead.
Oh, good.
You need to go.
I was just going to ask you a question about tea because you mentioned before that you drink tea,
Yeah.
and I was curious, what kind of tea?
All kinds of tea, actually.
So black tea, green tea. You know all the difference with what these teas are?
Yeah.
Because I don't. And I hear people like I hear tea connoisseurs out there like it's funny because I don't drink tea at all. And I was looking at and the one time I drink tea was when I have a bad throat. Like at I drank a lot of different teas at the marathon because I was trying to get one that would make my throat feel better. But when I'm sick at home, I drink throat coat.
Throat coat,
Which is
that's like a brand or a mixture. It's a blend of teas.
It's a blend from one of the companies, and I actually think that's one tea I actually think tastes pretty good too.
Yeah.
But I have no idea if it's.
I mean, that's got.
a black
I have
or
some of that. I mean, that's not only just tea leaves in that. I think that has things like an orange peel and like lavender and some other shit.
What reminded me of it is I have a pack sitting in front of me from last time, like right after the marathon. It's just sitting here. But
it'll probably tell you what's in it because I'm pretty sure a lot of those blends have things that aren't tea leaves in them. It has other things that are meant to do whatever.
It says consult your healthcare practitioner prior to use. That's kind of scary.
Well, yeah, there's some that I can't remember what the particular blend's called, but there's one that's meant to help you sleep at night, and it's basically like, taking an herbal sleeping pill to some degree, and it'll say the same thing, like maybe you should talk to your doctor before drinking this.
This is weird. Organic licorice root, organic slippery elm bark, organic licorice root dry aqueous extract, organic marshmallow root, and proprietary blend.
Yeah, so the proprietary blend is probably some tea leaves, but the rest of that shit is
there's some more after proprietary blend, which I don't get. Maybe this is part of the proprietary blend. Is organic wild cherry bark, organic fennel fruit, organic cinnamon bark, and organic sweet orange peel.
So yeah, there's any tea leaves in there actually. Which some, I mean,
I
don't think there
seem to be, unless that's just the supplemental material.
Yeah, I don't think tea has to have tea leaves to be considered a tea. I think it's almost like one of those words that's like a verb or whatever, where it's like the act of brewing it in a certain way makes it a tea to drink. And so
I'm teeing.
I mean, it's not really a verb, but it's one of those words where the act of doing a thing makes this a tea, not necessarily the fact that
it's in a bag
tea.
And you put hot water on it and like dunk it makes it tea, no matter what the hell it is.
I was reading about that, and apparently the whole tea bag, well, not like in the video games, but the whole tea bag thing started just because there was a guy trying to be fancy in the way he delivered his teas, and whenever someone used it, they didn't realize they were supposed to still take it out of the tea bag, and they just brewed it and put the tea bag in their tea, and they were like, this is fantastic, and then that's like how it all started. Because before that, it was weird. Just like, like you put them in those balls or whatever, the tea balls.
Yeah, that's true.
You probably don't know what I'm talking about since you don't drink tea.
No, I know what you're talking about. I've seen all this stuff because they use them on cooking shows a lot, and they actually use them in beer brewing a lot.
Really? Huh.
They'll do dry hopping with those metal balls. They'll put hops and stuff in there and put them in so that they can remove the hops at a certain stage of either the brew or the fermentation. So yeah, they use that. They do a lot of herb stuff. And that's kind of one of the reasons I'm curious on what you think of different brands and how you do things differently with teas. I'm sure you will spice up your teas sometimes too by like adding your own orange peel or your own, lemon.
Not
or,
a lot,
or something
but
like that.
I do add honey sometimes or like lemon. But I mean, mostly when I'm like, mostly it's iced tea is what I'll drink. But I do have a collection of hot teas.
Worst, man.
You don't like iced tea?
No.
Wow.
Oh man, we got to the point where we got gold. I'm getting gold.
Oh, nice. I used to drink like caffeine iced tea, but if I make it at home, I don't make it at home a lot anymore. Only thing I have at the house is water for the most part. I'm very boring. But
I had this girlfriend and a different just a friend of mine when I was in like high school and early college that their families were huge on iced tea. And whenever I would go over there for dinner, they always already had iced tea poured at every plate.
jeez.
And we're not a sweet tea state either, so there was no such thing as sweet tea back when I was doing this. There is now, like now sweet tea's everywhere, but at the time, like sweet tea was unheard of, and at least in my neck of the woods. And I would always feel like obligated to, okay, I don't want to be rude and say, be like, oh, I don't like this. So I would basically try to chug down this glass of iced tea as fast as I could to get it done with. And then when they offered more, I would just, like wave it off and be, oh, no, I'm good. I just would like some water or whatever. And I thought I was being all like smooth with this until there would be times when I would like excuse myself to go to the restroom where I'd be looking the other direction. And they just like refill it for me. And I've been at both of these houses, and I didn't ever let my girlfriend know because I felt bad. Like I thought that she was going to get upset, or that her family would be upset or something. I don't know why, but my guy friend, I let him know, and he, instead of letting his mother know, decided to be an asshole, and he would just constantly like be like, "Oh, Jeff, would you like some more tea?" And he would always like try to pour me more because his mom thought I liked it. He would constantly just give me more. But for like years, this went on, and the girlfriend's family found out. They were like, "What the hell didn't you just tell us?"
I mean, for real. Jesus Christ, man.
I felt bad, and then I was in too deep, man. Then I had to make up a story about being like a tea connoisseur or something on the tea farm.
So I had a similar thing happen. One of the first times I was flying to see my dad or mom, I don't remember which direction I was going, but I asked for tea on the plane. And so they brought me a cup of hot tea because that's what you get on the plane if you ask for tea. And she sets it down, and the guy sitting beside me goes, "Didn't expect that, did you? Didn't expect it to be hot, did you?" And I was like, "Of course I did." And I sat there and fucking drank it like I just loved it, even though it was awful. Because like I was like, in my family, it was all sweet tea all the time. Like I never even had
this is
like
just hot
just a very hot cup of tea. Yeah. Act like, oh, this is exactly what I wanted. He was like, oh, okay.
God, when I worked at Starbucks, they had all the different teas, the Earl Grey, the Awake, or and people would come in and constantly order these teas. And when you brew it for them, it smelled amazing. Mm-hmm. And every time I brewed one, I would be like, man, this must be that tea that I've been looking for all my life, because obviously it smells delicious. And they would leave, and I would be like, no, I got to try me one of these teas. And I'd make this tea and be like, nope, it still tastes like shit.
No, I haven't met a tea that I don't like, honestly.
I haven't met a tea that I don't like yet. I mean, so black teas are caffeined teas, right?
Yeah.
And green teas, I don't know, is that the standard tea?
Well, I mean, that's
like,
just,
what are the nighttime teas?
Those are ones that really don't normally contain tea leaves or decaffeinated tea leaves. And I don't know exactly the process to decaffeinate a tea leaf. I think there's like some kind of soaking or cooking
throat
process.
Coat is decaf, but as we decided, it
doesn't have any tea leaves. Yeah. A lot of the like nighttime teas just don't contain tea leaves at all, or decaffeinated tea. And again, I don't know what the process is to decaffeinate a tea leaf. I'd read about this one time because I was curious, because I switched to decaffeinated iced tea. I think there's like a cooking process or a soaking process that basically they just leach the caffeine from it.
So it doesn't actually start out as decaf?
No, it's not like they grew tea leaves that didn't have caffeine. They still had caffeine. They just had to remove the caffeine. That's why decaf tea leaves and bags or whatever cost more, because there's added work and process for this.
It's like, why are you charging me more for less?
Yeah, I'm not even getting the caffeine.
Not even getting the caffeine. It should be a discount.
I mean, I grew up drinking only sweet tea, And now, if you put, I mean, you could put like a tablespoon in a whole gallon, and I could just be like, oh god, get it out of there. So I can't stand any sugar in my tea now. It needs to be.
Oh, really? You're a completely unsweetened tea.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it sucks in the South being an unsweet tea drinker because you order the unsweet tea.
Tea by default is sweet tea.
Well, yeah, you order unsweet tea. You get your first cup of unsweet tea. Then the waitress comes by and refills your cup with sweet tea 100% of the time. And then you get that one moment of I take another swig. I've gotten used to it now to the point where I take a very tiny sip to see if I've gotten fucked. Or like when she brings the pitcher, I'm like, it's unsweet, right? Like trying to catch her real quick. And my daughter's caught onto it too, to the point where she'll even be like, you brought him unsweet, right? Like because they're so used to everyone drinking sweet tea that's just what they bring, and they forget that you ever ordered unsweet. Whenever I get a refill and they bring me unsweet the first time, I'm like, oh, you're getting the best tip ever because you're the only one that ever remembers.
That's hilarious. When you said, like, when you talked about tea, for some reason I didn't think it was iced tea that you were discussing. I thought it was like,
well, when I was telling you stuff in between episodes, that was actually a hot tea that I drank with the person.
Was it a good one?
It was just a plain. I think it was just an English breakfast tea actually, because we met in the morning. So yeah.
So is that like even a different kind of tea?
Yeah. There's lots of different, like, it's kind of like strains of marijuana or something like that. There's different kinds of plants that go into making the tea. Like an Irish breakfast tea has got a lot more caffeine than English breakfast tea, for example.
So is tea one of those things that is like known at a certain part of the world, or could you grow your own tea? And have you ever thought about trying to grow your own tea?
I have not. I don't know what goes into that. I don't know what kind of climate tea grows in. I don't know shit about that type of stuff.
I mean, a fun experiment if you're a big tea drinker.
Yeah, I wouldn't call myself a big tea drinker. In fact, I've limited the amount of tea I drink a lot over the years. Like I said, at this point, I don't even brew tea at home. Whenever I'm at a restaurant, I always order tea, but when I'm at home, I never make my own tea anymore. I'm just, unless it's like a hot cup of tea. Like when I do my 24-hour marathons, I drink a lot of tea actually, mainly to keep myself awake. Because
you're drinking the caffeinated stuff.
Yeah, because I don't drink any caffeine on a regular basis because I never drink soda or anything like that. So I don't have caffeine in my life, basically. So any amount of caffeine is just like a fucking drug to me. Like occasionally, if I'm at a coffee house or something like that, I'll get an espresso because I really enjoy the taste of coffee. It's just not. I'm glad I try to avoid it so that I don't get addicted to it. And a single espresso it's like I've taken fucking speed or something. It's like a drug for real.
Man, I need to do like a 30-day without caffeine thing and see what it then feels like to drink caffeine again after that, because I drink so much caffeine that I don't even feel it's.
I mean, you would definitely get headaches. You would go through with a withdrawal, honestly.
Oh yeah. I would probably have to wean into the 30 days off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I was dating Renee, she tried to quit drinking coffee in the mornings, and honestly, she became an asshole, and she constantly had headaches, and I was just like, could you just fucking drink your goddamn coffee and stop being this way?
Is there a reason she was trying to stop?
I mean, she said that it caused her to have urinary tract infections if she drank too much coffee, and so there was some other reason too. I guess maybe just that she was trying to not be addicted to caffeine. I guess I don't know. I don't know the other reason, but that was one of the reasons why she was stopping, because of urinary tract infections. But there was a secondary reason that I don't remember what it was. But yeah.
Well, I think half the time I'm drinking it just because it's a habit of drinking it, not because I'm not sitting there shaking until I get my glass. An addiction thing. It's just like I'll sit there and be like, "Oh, cup's empty. Better go to the coffee machine."
I do remember she was very shocked the first time she stayed over with me, and like, it'd be morning time, it'd be time to get up, and I would get up and I would just be up and awake. And she's like, "How the fuck do you do that? How did you not? You haven't had any coffee or anything. How are you just wide awake?" And I'm like, I'm awake now. It's time to be awake.
It is awake time. you're just like my son. Like, wake up when you think he's just gonna be like devastated because he's only been asleep for 4 hours, and he's like, "Play, must play now."
So yeah, I do think maybe part of that was she was like, "I want to be able to be awake and be awake time too."
I want to know awake time. What is this awake time you speak of?
Which, I mean, it's good for like my daughter because, like, I have to get up with her so damn early, especially if I stay up as late as I do to stream and stuff. Like if I was one of those people that required some chemical or whatever to function, I can't imagine getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning with her after getting 4 hours of sleep, and then like, oh, I gotta get coffee before I can make your breakfast and all this because she's awake.
Do you catch a nap though?
Oh yeah, no, I don't only get 4 hours of sleep. I get up at 6 and I get her off to school, and then I go back to sleep every morning.
Okay. So I mean, I can like on the weekends, my wife and I we switch off with our son, which is going to be different soon when there's a newborn around as well. But right now we'll switch on and off on getting up with them, and I don't mind when I was up super late the night before, especially if I was like up late drinking or whatever. I hate getting up super early.
Right.
But for the most part, I can get up and go down and make him breakfast and be all fine at 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever until like 9, knowing that nap's on the horizon again.
Right. Yeah, it does suck for me on the weekends because she still gets up at 6:30 or 7, and I've still been up late streaming or whatever.
And you're with her alone all day.
Yeah. I don't have that partner support anymore. So it's just like, all right, here's your breakfast and everything. And God damn it, I'm tired, but I just live through it on those days, basically.
Yeah. Or it's like some days if he gets up super early for whatever reason, which it happens occasionally, not often, and I'll get up with him an hour and a half before I'd normally get up to go to work, then I'm just like, because now stuck going to work after being up, earlier than I planned or whatever.
I'm always have to be up at noon to do whatever recording session we do, because we do a recording session every day of the week at noon. And the first thing I do in the bed still is check Discord to see if anyone's canceling. Because if anyone's canceling, I'm like, I'm not even getting out of bed, going back to sleep.
What time do you normally sleep till if you're
it's mostly always noon because these recording sessions don't get canceled. A lot of times when I wake up at noon, even if it does cancel, like I'll try to go back to sleep, but it'll be too late at that point, basically. Like I've been awake too long checking Discord, and I'll just kind of lay there, maybe doze off for 30 more minutes. So I'm always out of bed by like 1 at the latest. But that's staying up.
And then you're up until like 4.
No, some nights, but most nights I try to be in bed by 2 at the latest. Because I stop streaming at 12, and there's normally something I have to do, like either is making lunch, like the lunch boxes for the weeks, or washing the day's dishes from making supper, or just those sort of things. Making sure my daughter's clothes are set out the next morning for school. Those sort of things always happen. So it really just depends day to day what time I go to bed. But yeah. Try to be in bed by 2 at the latest, normally.
Yeah, I have to be at work between 7 and 8 is when I get to work every day. And then the weekends, it's funny because somebody has to get up with the young one, and then usually the other one gets up around 9. But I'll tell you, man, if her parents are here, I'll be like, I'm out till 11. See you later. There you go. I'm sleeping in.
Right. That makes sense.
I think those days are non-existent from here on out, though.
Yeah, before Crystal left, that's basically what it was. She would get up, and I would normally. But then I think it's something about getting up for that hour and then going back to bed, because I would get up earlier then, and maybe it was just because there was a family here, want to hang out with them, that sort of thing. So maybe that was part of it too, just wanting to hang out with Crystal and the daughter. But I would definitely get up before noon on those days. But I wouldn't get up. I would not until like once she became a stay-at-home mom, I slept in every morning basically. I thought that was fair because I was staying up late working, and she was getting to bed at like 9 every night whenever my daughter would go to bed.
Yeah, the only problem is if she wanted to do things at night.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't have to go to bed at 9. But yeah, I mean, we could have traded off, I suppose, if it came down to it. But I was still working a similar schedule. Some nights she would stay up, like we'd watch Survivor and stuff, and that sort of thing. So she would stay up, but I didn't stream back then either, so it was different. I had different.
It was different.
Had like more of a recording and editing and rendering schedule than a streaming schedule.
Yeah. My problem is both my wife and I have a lot of things we try to do at night after the baby goes to sleep, or he's not baby
Right.
anymore.
I mean, but she's working too, so y'all have like a
she's working
equal share of responsibility sort of thing going on.
Yeah. Which makes it more difficult because then you fight more about who gets up, because then you have like then it has to be a back and forth, because
whenever my daughter was first born, Crystal was still working, and that was really rough because I was still working late at night, but she was getting up and going to work, and so I was the one getting up early. There was like an 8-month period where like I almost died basically because I was getting no sleep. Yeah, but at least my daughter was one of those babies that always slept through the night, so there wasn't that issue. But there was still just like the struggle of getting up, feeding her, and that sort of thing, and then she was up and just watching her and not getting the chance to go back to sleep.
And one more to come soon.
Yeah. That's fun though.
Oh, it'll be fun. I'm just like
things like Santa,
now that I'm actually thinking about all the way that now that I'm thinking about all the way that we actually deal with things, like with the one, and it's like, wow, like this is like we're both gonna have to get up because they're both gonna be up, and you can't. One person's not gonna be able to deal with them both for a long time, you know?
Right? Or one's gonna be up and the other one's still asleep, and
God,
there's just gonna be one. I mean, that's the thing that whenever we talked about, because we had always talked about having multiple kids, and then after we had the first baby, and she was a night sleeper always. Like I think I've told you before, but she's only woken up one night in her life. She was constipated whenever she was very young, and she woke up early. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. But other than that, she's slept through the night her entire life. And I don't know of any other parent that has this story. Every parent I know is like, I have to get up multiple times every night and all this. And so when we started talking about having another kid, we were like, this one's not going to sleep though. Like, what are we going to do?
So whenever I do hear the story that you're telling, it's because they're talking about the second one and how the second one was not the same.
Right. Yeah. There's no way you get lucky like that twice. You can't roll those dice that good.
People are like, yeah, we thought having a second kid would be easy because the first one was so simple, and all of a sudden this one doesn't sleep. This one cries and complains and wants to be in our bed.
So I was a colicky baby, and I think my daughter would have been too, because she cried a lot at first, and then the doctor was like, "Oh, her esophagus is not the normal length, and she's got acid reflux," and they gave her medicine for acid reflux, and then that completely stopped. And I have really bad acid reflux now as an adult, and I guarantee you, I had the same shit as a child, but they just didn't have a way to diagnose it back then. So I feel like I would have been a better child if only there was some doctor could have realized I also had acid reflux.
I mean, I wonder how they figure that out specifically.
They literally measured her esophagus length, and it's like, I guess it's more common now. Like someone figured this shit out somewhere along the way, and because that was literally what they did. They like measured her esophagus length, and they're like, yeah, this is based on her esophagus length. It's definitely acids coming back up after she eats, and that's bothering her and it's making her cry. And legitimately, they gave us the medicine for heartburn, and then it was like immediate fix. Like she never cried again. I mean, obviously she did, but not. It was like only for like wet diapers and that sort of thing.
Interesting.
So I guess medicine's just come a lot further.
Yeah, I've never heard of this baby esophageal reflux diagnosis before. But I guess we did. We got lucky that we haven't had to do much with my son at all. He's gone to the doctor once outside of the normal, I guess twice, because we have to have a follow-up appointment for it. But outside of the normal thing, and it was because he got that hematoma on his cheek.
Right.
But besides that, he's never been he's been sick a couple times, but never to the point where we had to actually go do something about it. Once I came close because he seemed so absolutely miserable, and I didn't know if there was something else going on, but we steered the course and gave him his the Tylenol, Motrin back and forth, and later that night he was you could tell when it was wearing off because he would start getting worse, but it was time for the next dose of something. You give it to him again, and then he was always back to it. And even though he looked so miserable sleeping, like tossing, turning, hot, like crying, sweating, like he just couldn't sleep. When he was awake, he still wanted to play. So
Yeah.
it was like, okay, he's not dying. you know?
Right. I'm so glad that my daughter never got sick when she was a baby before she could talk, because like that's just terrifying. Like you have this high temperature and they can't speak to you to tell you anything. It's like, oh man, that's just a nightmare.
Yep.
Her first sickness was whenever she got a flu like 2 years ago, but she never got a cold or anything before that. And like whenever she was like 3, we let Crystal's parents watch her. They came up and we hadn't like had a date night in like 3 years or something. And so they came up and they got a hotel nearby and they were going to watch her. And she threw up in the middle of the night at the hotel. And like she'd never thrown up before. It was the first time in her life she'd ever thrown up. They didn't call us. They didn't text us. They didn't tell us at all until next day. I was so upset. I was like, this is her goddamn first time throwing up. You call the parents whenever. I mean,
well, did they know that it was she'd never thrown up before?
No, but I mean, they did not know either.
But
a simple text would have covered that.
If I was babysitting a kid and the kid threw up but was still playing and having a good time,
it was in the middle of the night. That's the crazy part. She woke up, puked in the bed, and then went back to sleep.
I mean, no harm, no foul.
Now, there's lots of foul. It's like a party foul.
Puke and rally. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have. I feel like if I was watching a kid, I would have called. I don't know. First time you're watching a kid too. Like I don't know. I remember being very upset. I was highly upset that we weren't in contact.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's all situational. I mean, I've seen, my son throw up a handful of times. And like when a baby's a baby.
Oh sure, yeah. Oh yeah, no. But she was 3, so she wasn't baby anymore. Yeah.
3 years old. I don't know. Mine's not even 3 yet, but he's thrown up a couple times when he was like. They were like once. Now that he's not a baby, he's only thrown up when we know he was sick.
Right.
So yeah, I guess situationally, but I don't know. He has. Yeah, I can't say only. I do remember once where he did just throw up out of nowhere, and I think he might have just ate too much because he threw up out of nowhere, and he was kind of like he looked at it and looked like wiped his chin and like ran off and was like type of deal. So I wasn't that concerned about it.
That's funny. She did this one time at Disney too. Or no, wait, no. The time at Disney, she actually got food poisoning. But she did this one time when we were at the beach. Just me, Chris, and her at the beach. She woke up in the middle of the night, puked everywhere, and was fine. It's like, what the fuck? What's wrong with you, child?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it happens. It's a matter of waiting for the reaction of like, what is their reaction going to be? Because that's really the key on how should I intervene at this point. Right. It's just like the falling. I don't know how you dealt with it. Like, little kids fall, and a lot of times they start crying, but it's because they're scared. They don't really know what happened and how to react to the fact that something's not normal, even when they're completely fine and not hurt.
And all the books I had read said to not react, basically. And so that's what I did.
So a lot of books said not react. I never didn't react because he would look every time Jack would like fall or smash into something, and he would look at me. And what we started doing is just going boom and like make it like funny, and he would laugh and say boom, and then he'd
right. Yeah, I remember.
So instead of completely ignoring it,
right.
we just made it like a happy time, and then if he ever actually continued to cry,
then it was hurt.
We would be like, "Oh, okay, so he might be hurt." We'll still be happy and try to figure out how hurt he really is.
I remember just being like, "Did that hurt?" Like, did you ever like baby talk? That's the other thing I always read was never baby talk your child, and so like I've always talked to her.
We still baby talked, and like I mean, I guess define baby talk like.
Yeah, that kind of.
I mean, I think we, for the most part, talked to our child, not goo goo gaga, but we might use a slightly different. Like, I don't talk to Jack like this. I'm not like, "Hello, Jack, how are you doing?" You saw when he came in here.
Yeah.
Before we started recording, it was a, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" The whole different demeanor.
See, I guess I've never done that. It's always a very normal voice, which I don't know. Maybe that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just do whatever comes natural. What seems to make him happy.
Right? Yeah. I don't think there's anything. I think there's something wrong with the goo goo gaga stuff, because then I think it's like teaching even the baby, like you're not teaching them language. Then it's like that's not language,
Right.
But I don't think like changing your inflection's a bad thing. I think that's a totally fine thing.
Yeah, we try to use words and like I don't know. Okay, I was gonna ask what you taught your daughter her penis was.
I've never taught my daughter about her penis. Maybe someday.
I started realizing halfway through, because I'm not sure a lot of people what they like. I don't know if. Oh God!
Every book I read prepared me for her to masturbate as a baby, basically. Oh Jesus Christ!
I did.
You're very dead.
I got caught by two skeletons and decided to try to run away, and I ended up running off the cliff with half a heart to spare. But the cliff was too much for me.
Every book that I read about early childhood development had prepared me for her to masturbate, like while still in diapers, basically. Not like masturbate, but to like find her pee-pee spot and then find it pleasurable to keep touching it, and just to be ready for that. And that never happened, and I'm very glad it didn't, because even though I had read it was going to happen, I was never prepared for it.
I didn't know that was a normal thing for girls, I guess. I know boys play with their penises all the time.
Right, but I mean, it's like an extension of your body, more of.
Yeah, he is no exception. He loves playing with his penis, but we call it, and that's what I was gonna say is I know a lot of people call it like their pee-pee or whatever, but we've taught him it is his penis, and it's so funny because when I'm getting him undressed to go in the bathtub, he's always like pants, diaper, and when I pull off the diaper, he'll go penis.
Yeah, no, my daughter knows the medical term. She knows it's a vagina, all those sort of things. I think I've told you the story where, because she asked all these questions, and we tried to be as truthful as possible about these things. And so, we always explained to her like that, part of a man, part of a woman come together to make babies. Whenever she asks that and those sort of things, and she's like, well, specifically what part? It's like, well, you have an egg and boys have sperm and all this sort of thing. And so we've explained all that. And one day, me and her were going to her swim classes, and she started asking me questions on the way there about it again. And she was like, and so we're getting out of the car at the swim place, and another guy's getting out of his car at the same time. And this is the moment she decides to turn to me and go, exactly how many sperm do boys have? Because she's been told that like she's limited on the number of eggs she has or whatever, because she's asked how many. It's like, well, you start with a finite amount, and eventually they're all gone. And so this guy just looks like, what the fuck is happening right now?
My son loves noodles and pasta and things like that. Like mac and cheese is like one of his favorite things in the world. Or lo mein is actually like something he really likes. And he started calling them nudes.
Nudes.
So he'll always ask mommy for nudes, or he'll be like, I need nudes, mommy. I need nudes, mommy. And I'm like, man, we got to make sure that this, is something that stays in the house. Otherwise, people are going to get a very bad interpretation of how we raise our child here.
I'd read a lot of stories about parents telling their kids the truth about all of this stuff, and then getting like a letter home from the teacher, like, your daughter or your son just told the whole classroom that she has a vagina and they have penises and those sort of things, and teachers being really upset. I was always terrified that was going to happen.
We all seen Kindergarten Cop.
Oh yeah, I guess that does happen, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think one kid's dad is a gynecologist, and he's like, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. That's like how he introduces himself.
So I was always ready for this to happen, but it never has. I don't know at what grade it's okay for my daughter to have this knowledge, but I feel like every parent should really just be truthful with these sort of things. I know some people could be like, well, you lied to her about Santa, but I feel like this is more important.
That's exactly where I was about to go with it.
Well, it's more important whenever, like, my daughter might get in the situation where someone's going to try to sexually abuse her, but Santa's not going to ever, the Santa thing is never going to negatively affect her in a way that she could, be abused.
Okay, yeah. It has less of a chance of negatively affecting her than lying about, like, saying babies come from storks and having people actually think that it's okay to then have unprotected sex because that's not what creates a baby.
Exactly.
Yes, is a much more major issue. I understand.
Exactly. Well,
You can't say the Santa thing will never affect her. You don't
it's going
know.
to. I think it's going to affect her in a positive way because she'll learn to be skeptical about the things that she's told and to have critical
about things
thinking.
her daddy says to her.
No, because I mean, I think she'll, and I know how I think about it, and the people I know that were raised with Santa think about it the same way as I do, is that they understood what the parent was doing and that it was a fun thing that the child was meant to enjoy, and it was a magical experience, and that she was glad for the moment, and I was glad for the moment that I had it.
Did they think that at the time? That's the question.
I did. But
You think? You don't know.
I know me.
No.
Okay.
You don't know you.
You don't know you.
You don't know you.
All right. Well, we're out of time once again. So I hope everyone had a good
guys.
time. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.